This episode is brought to you by Only the Real Entertainment and Media Den Productions.
To Livingston, to Jordan. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
What's going on, y'all? This is episode 70. Cam, how you living, dog?
No, I'm living right. Hopefully.
I could
what
tell.
About you? What about you?
I could tell. My boy got the Lakers hat on. I haven't seen him in Laker gear like this since 2020 when he trolled me vicariously for months. So he feeling good. He feeling good. I think he being real modest right now. I'm doing good, man. Why he put up a little fight, I'm good. You know, I'm all right with it. You know, I made peace with it. Good ball was played. I ain't too upset. You know.
I'm not necessarily wearing Laker gear because I'm happy and nothing like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily worried about what's happening or what happened, but it's really just because, you know, my barber been ghost, so I've been kind of just like freelancing it lately. And plus, you know, why not? I'm always, I'm not going to say always, but it's very often that I'm in Laker gear anyway on it every day, so why not?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, when your team is, you know what I'm saying, third in the conference, you get to talk like that. I haven't been able to do that in three years. But, you know, who's counting? Who's counting?
Man, whatever, man. This is a continuation of part one of game one. How are you feeling about the first slate of game one games that we talked about last pod before we get into the other ones?
Man, Saturday was lit, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I'm looking at the games now. The first game was the Milwaukee Bucks and Pacers. Yeah. That looked very interesting, and not in a good way. They got mollywopped. Yeah, bro. It was Giannis and, you know, Kuzma's donut and, you know, a whole bunch of other things. They had 5 guys in double figures with the Pacers, and I looked like a clown. You know what I'm saying? That's game number 1. Game number 2 was it the Clippers and Nuggets, or am I tripping? Or was it, oh no, it was the okay. Clippers and Nuggets. Clippers fumbled the bag on that one. I ain't gonna lie to you. It could just be the championship pedigree that really kicked in at that point, or maybe lapses or adjustments that needed to be made. But that was the Clippers game to win. I feel real comfortable in saying Clips in 7. Pistons and Knicks, also, that fumble was even worse than the Clippers. Did you see what happened in the 4th?
Yeah.
Wow. When Jalen Brunson said, I hear that Cade Cunningham talk, but I'm like that. I've been doing this in the playoffs ever since I was in a Dallas Maverick jersey. I've been like that, you know what I mean? So he did that. That one I feel comfortable too. That I said Knicks in 6. And then, you know, your guys just seem rusty. I'm not worried about that either. And, you know, they got beat convincingly. The Wolves also set a franchise record in threes. I'm not too worried about that. Luka having 1 assist in a playoff game is a super anomaly. I expect adjustments to be made. Series really don't start until game 3. You know, I've been saying that for years. Series don't start until game 3.
LeBron had 3 assists. Austin had like 2 assists.
This is gonna sound insane. I don't think I've ever read a box score with LeBron James having 3 assists in my life. I'm not exaggerating.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I really went through the box score this morning because after the loss, I didn't look at the box score. I wasn't necessarily mad, but it definitely hit me the next day where I was just kind of like, I wish I can kind of go through this Sunday with a game 1. I mean, a game 1 victory. You know what I mean? It will feel great. But
yeah,
I ain't tripping because especially after I looked at the box score this morning, I said, nah. This one is, I'm cool. Once I started seeing individual stuff, started seeing where the advantages were. I mean, they out-rebounded us defensively, but offensively, we out-rebounded them. A lot of their points came off. Yeah, a lot of their a lot of their points came off of transition. You know what I mean? Really just turning the ball over and really crashing the glass defensively, which to me, it just looked like dudes just, and JJ said it, Braun said it. It just looked like they just kind of just was, and this has been happening all season, where they would have like an extended period of time where they would rest. And then the next game, or even two, depending on what it is. In this case, it was really just only a game, because the other times that it happened, it was just so happened to be on a back-to-back when they would return. But they would come out kind of rusty and everything, and then they'll catch steam again. So I'm not really tripping about it, to be honest.
I told you that in the second quarter what was going on. I said, this is pure rust. Yeah. This is like when you come back from hooping after a few months and like your eyes is caught in lights and you know what I mean, you're not as quick to the ball. Mm-hmm. You're having lapses on defense. I'm like, okay, these guys are rusty. They're filling them out. And I'm a LeBron fan. LeBron is my favorite player of all time. LeBron is known for filling things out in game one and not looking too stellar, and then pretty much figuring it out, whether he wins the series or not, pretty much figuring it out along the way, and getting situated when he's not sweeping, which I never thought it was going to be a sweep on either end. So I ain't tripping.
I ain't tripping
Saturday
either.
Was lit.
I ain't tripping either. This time around, we're going to talk about the top and bottom teams. So that's 1-8 and 2-7. Those games is already played at this time of this recording. Right now, at the time of this recording, game 2s are about to start between the Knicks and Detroit, and the Nuggets and Clippers. So both of those will be pretty good games for the day. But let's get right into OKC and Memphis. I didn't get to watch the game because, shout out to my daughter. Happy birthday to her. I was dealing with a birthday party with her, so I didn't even get to see. Yeah, I didn't get to see that game between OKC and Memphis. I only got to see pretty much Boston and Orlando. So I could talk just a tad bit more in depth with there, because by the time that I got home, Boston and Orlando was going at it in the second quarter. And then I was able to see the second half bits and pieces, because we were still dealing with certain things as far as presence, putting it up, all that other stuff. But talk to me about OKC and Memphis. What did you see go wrong with Memphis? Because clearly they got shellacked.
What did I see go wrong? Everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah, hey, listen. The 51-point L. You know what I think when, teams lose that bad? What is the film session like? Like, people, you know what I'm saying? We've played organized ball before, you know what I mean? And went through tough practices. But getting beat by 51 points, because usually what coaches do is they break down the bad, but then they say, hey, we need to do more of this. What positive do you take from getting mollywopped by 51 points, right? And all this is going to tell me, whether it's a sweep or not, is this is the last we'll see of this Memphis Grizzlies, 1,000%. Jaren Jackson Jr., you should be ashamed of yourself, bro. You should be utterly ashamed of yourself. You look like a lost puppy out there. You're not grabbing rebounds. You're settling for J's. When you have a Caruso, you can't even post Caruso up, and Caruso isn't that much taller than me in real life. It looks bad, bro. There's no way you're finishing a game with 4 points and 3 rebounds, and you're an all-star and you're a depoy. There's no point in time which that is any way, form acceptable. There's no way that John Moran is out there dolo. And the guy who helped him out the most was a Marvin Bagley, who played 16 minutes and he had 17 points. What the hell is everybody else doing? Zach Edey, you're a rookie. I get it. Desmond Bane, you played pathetic as well. Scottie Pippen Jr., you're an undersized guy, but we mainly know him as a distributor when Ja's gone. There's no excuse for this bad of a beating. You said Grizzlies in 5. I don't know how they get a W at this point, because Shea, quiet as kept, didn't play all that well. And they still got beat by 51. So imagine when Shea gets going, because Jalen and Chet was eating. And then you add in 21 points from Aaron Wiggins off the bench. What do you do if you're Memphis? Do you mail it in? I don't know. It looked bad, bro. It looked like a potential sweep. You know, I respect the Grizzlies. The new coach is in. I just don't see it. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a win. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they get a win.
Does that have anything to do with coaching by any chance? Again, I didn't see the game at all, so I don't know how the ebbs and flows went throughout the process of those minutes. But what did it look like to you? Was it like a coaching error? Was it they were out of steam from the play-in? What was it exactly in your eyes, at least?
In my eyes, bro, OKC's defense is something to be heralded over. The switches, the rotations, the way that they play pick and rolls and pick and pops. And they overcame the size factor when they started the two bigs, bro. With Hardenstein grabbed a lot of boards. Chet spaces the floor. I think them putting Chet at the 4 is genius, you know, with a big body. Like Hardenstein, they were all over them defensively is what I saw. The offense came as is, but the defense is what really stood out on OKC's part. It's really what shocked me. And I don't know if that necessarily has to do with coaching. I think it sounds ridiculous. I just think they're outmatched. I just do.
Damn. It's really that bad? Well, obviously, if you get beat by 51 points.
No, it's bad. It's bad. I don't think they're going to get beat by 51 points twice, but it could be another 15 to 20 ball. It's that bad.
Man, I remember I was in the spot at my daughter's birthday party, man, and I ain't gonna lie. I opened up my phone maybe twice just to check, like, scores and the timeline and everything. And the minute that I saw that at that point, and I think this was in the beginning of the game, Shea was like 2 for 10, and they were up by maybe 32 points, I think, at that point.
Right.
Or something like that. And I think the score at that point was maybe like 62-38 or something. It was something like that. And I'm like, I turned to my homie. Actually, Quest was there. I was like, bruh, what? And he was like, what? You know what I mean? So it was like one of those things where it's just, I have no idea what's happening. I would love to see that matchup, but I'm going to say it again, man. I just have this feeling about Memphis. It's not even the Taylor Jenkins firing. It's something about that locker room that is not serious enough. And and I don't mean it in a way where it's like they're just kind of just like messing around and whatever, but I don't know what it is.
Where's their vet? I didn't see any vets out there.
And
I'm looking at the score right now. I don't see any vet.
And you see the reason why I was heralding for Jimmy Butler to go there so bad. Because I just felt as though he would have been like a great piece to put together with them at least. Because truthfully, even with them being a young squad, they don't necessarily, it's not even just a vet. Because you can have a vet in there. But a vet that they would listen to and that can lead, whether off the bench or on the court.
Correct.
And
they have no vets, bro. I'm looking at
the depth chart right now. You think that's what it is? That's what's missing? Because it definitely doesn't. It doesn't feel like seriousness, at least for me in my eyes, in the way how I feel about Memphis right now.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, bro. They don't have anybody that the young stars respect enough to grab them by the chest and say, tighten up. You playing like a whatever adjective you want to plug in right there. You look at somebody, even the Golden State Warriors, before they even won a championship, they had somebody by the name of Jared Jack, which I believe he's coaching right now. He was Steph's OG, and Steph swears by him. But he had somebody to tug him and say, tighten up. They tried to bring Marcus Smart through. They traded him away. They tried to bring D Rose through. They traded him away. They tried to bring somebody who's not even a quote-unquote OG, but who's played again in a lot of serious playoff games in a Steven Adams, and they traded him away. And now we're left with their OG being what? Marvin Bagley? I see nobody here who's been around the league and who's played important minutes, because Marvin Bagley has not played important minutes, even though he's not a scrub. You know what I'm saying? But he hasn't played important basketball. So you have nobody to grab them outside of the coach, right? Because the coach can only do so much. But the makeup of your roster plays a big part. You got to have an OG or you're going to get flooded like this. It just is what it is.
Man, God bless to Memphis. I definitely want to
Thanks.
see next game. I'm looking to when game 2 is, but that that score really took me off guard. Let's move on to the next game. I want to save, the best for last. But let's get into Boston and Orlando. What did you see again? I
watched that game completely too.
I saw a good amount. I didn't get to see it in completely, but I saw a good amount. Of course, Orlando got shellacked as well. What did you see in that game? And by the way, before we even get into that, Memphis and OKC, you see a sweep, right?
Yeah, that's a sweep.
All right, perfect. So Boston, Orlando, what do you see as far as the end result? And what did you see in that game 1?
First of all, damn it, Paolo Banchero can't be guarded by nobody. Oh my God. Paolo looked incredible. But that's it. Franz, you took a lot of shots, but a lot of times Franz can get, erratic. Like certain shots are early in the shot clock where they could have got potentially him a better look or somebody else. I recall one time on a fast break, he could have kicked it up to KCP and he took it up and missed. Things like that. I see probably Celtics in 5. I think Paolo and Franz can put together one to get one from the Celtics. We've known the Celtics to pretty much, have one of those nights where they seem flat, like these guys won the championship. They've had that once in a while, and I don't think they'll be able to sweep the Magic. The score says 17. It felt larger at one point. They kind of put it down, but at one point it really just felt like Paolo versus the Celtics. And what's scary about the Celtics is Tatum had a bad game. Brown wasn't too impressive. The main guy was Derek White. Man, he couldn't miss. Oh my God. Derek White and Peyton Pritchard were running amok. So that's really scary when your top 2 guys didn't even go too crazy and you still lose in a reasonably fashionable way, in the manner that they lost. So I see that going 5, Celtics in 5 for sure on that one, from what I saw.
Sometimes when it comes down to teams like this, it's so amazing to see how the others can participate and really beat a team. Because when you're looking at the box score and you're seeing, the guys that were in double digits, which essentially it was just Derek White, he had 30. He had 30.
In the manner he had 30 was crazy.
He had 30. You know what I'm saying? And then, Jason Tatum and JB, they were in double digits too. Jason Tatum had 17, JB had 16, and Peyton Pritchard had 19. So you have your leading scorer in Derek White at 30. It just goes to show you that a lot of things went right. And the one thing that the Celtics can do is spray the ball around and make sure everybody has a decent to a elite amount of shot volume to contribute to games, just to keep the defense on their toes, but everybody can hit that bit. So
yeah, we talked about it too on the last part. Everybody got a clip on that team. That's why they have the record in NBA history with the most 3 attempted. And yeah, everybody got a clip on that team, and that's what's scary.
I can see it going to 5. It just like you, it sucks that Jalen Suggs is not there because he would have been able to provide a lot of defensive impact on the perimeter.
1,000%.
And just bringing that energy, you know what I'm saying? Ever since he got injured for the season, Orlando has pretty much trickled down. They do have to situate that with their roster at some point. Of course, they have to add in probably a couple more vets. I don't think that even though KCP is having a very down year this season, I don't think that he's that bad of a vet to have. But
No.
I think that they just need a vet that would be able to truly guide them in a vocal way. KCP is pretty quiet.
He is.
So, again, I ain't gonna lie, man. I keep saying it, and I'm sure that he's probably gonna retire from his franchise either way. But a vet like Draymond Green in Orlando takes that team to a whole nother level, man. I'm telling
Pair
you.
him with Jalen Suggs, that'll be a hellacious defending team. Jesus Christ.
Man,
Hellacious
Draymond
defending
Green
team.
in an Orlando Magic jersey with that squad, whoever you need to give up on that that is young to send them to Golden State. If you can get someone like Draymond Green and get another vet like shoot, I'll have to think about that. But definitely Draymond Green right now, oh man, you're trending in the right direction. That's the same way Quiet is kept. That's the same way I feel about Washington right now. Now that they got Marcus Smart,
yeah, they kind of turned it around.
Middleton, yeah,
they kind of turned it around.
I can see it. Them adding Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton along with Malcolm Brogdon already there.
Right.
I can see them getting a good direction now with the young talent. I mean, they're in position draft-wise.
Yeah, don't let them get Coop.
Hey,
yeah, they'll sneak up in the play-in for sure if they get Coop, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. We're not even going to press on that far or that crazy because we got some playoff games to watch. As I said, first matchup is New York Knicks versus Detroit. They're still in Madison Square Garden, so I would love to see that. And then later on at night, we have Denver and LA Clippers, which I truly do expect the Clippers to come back and, proceed to get that split.
Yep. Same.
Let's move on to real talk.
Let's do it.
We watched Cleveland, Miami Heat battle it out. The number 1 seed in the East, the number 8 seed in the East. And hey, man, let me know how you felt because what I saw was a Miami Heat team that I don't know.
What you mean you don't know?
Just let me know what you seen, how you like it, how you think that series is gonna go based off of what you saw.
I think we'll figure it out to get 2 games. I'm confident in saying that. Again, people will look at the score / box score and see 21 points and think it's a convincing win. But if you actually watch the game, there's a lot of adjustments / things that I feel like needs to be done next game in order to set us up for the highest success rate. The first thing being, no disrespect to Mr. Alec Burks, go holler at that hardwood. Yeah, go holler at that bench. Start Davion Mitchell, right? Figure out a way to integrate a Duncan Robinson in the zone because Tyler Hero was getting targeted. He was getting targeted, something hellacious, and that kind of takes away from his offensive things, and he carries so much for us on the perimeter from an offensive standpoint. So that's definitely one thing I would change. Khalil Ware, the motor issues kind of showed, but he's a rookie. I'm not too concerned with, motor issues coming from a rookie. That's something that if, the player is locked in can be coached, you know what I mean? But he's definitely going to be big in the series. He only played 20 minutes. Haywood Highsmith gave us solid minutes. Again, he only had 7 and 6, but the defensive things he did, the ability to, switch on the perimeter and hold his own in the paint proved well. And I just think we needed to make timely shots when we got, those particular styles. I just feel like the shot making wasn't there. But I think the quality of the looks was, and I think if we make those adjustments, we're starting, especially Davion Mitchell, who gave us 18 and 9. We got to start him, even though he played starter minutes. We got to come off the rip with him, and yeah, man, we gotta do it that way. Are
you comfortable in saying Cavs in 6?
Yeah, I am. They leaving here with a black eye though. Yeah, they ain't leaving the squabble unfazed. Yeah, they leaving here with a busted lip and a black eye word to Aaron Gordon on my mama.
That's what I was about to say. I was sitting there. That is a game that I watched through and through. Mm-hmm. And I must say, man, 2-3 ball handlers, specifically playmakers, guys that can really distribute and can, at least one of them can take the scoring load, especially in clutch time situations. Mm-hmm. Oh. Miami, I'm going to tell you, the weird thing about Miami is Miami and I always say it's because of the foundation of Miami. Like that, it's important for franchises to have an actual foundation for their team and for their franchises, because the search for the players becomes easier.
That's
You
a fact.
you don't have to freelance with trying to figure out what player you want and
Yep.
think about all this and that. You can focus on what's the foundation of the team, the franchise, everyone, and especially when that formula has worked for
Right.
decades.
Right.
And at that point, you can make a squad. And I'm going to say this right now, man. This season, Miami has been through a lot.
Yeah.
But especially the end of the season, that includes the play-in, and that includes game 1 against the Cavs. However this goes, I don't care if they get swept. I don't think they're going to get swept, though.
Me neither.
But I don't care if they get swept. They're in the right direction. And
You're like
all
the third person to tell me this game.
they are in the right like I see it. I've been seeing it since very early in the season. I've been seeing it. But I absolutely see it now where you have it's so weird how Miami works. This is such a Pat Riley thing. But the Heat have the others. Now they need the guys.
Bro.
They've literally worked in reverse.
Bro. This is facts. Somebody, man, I'm in the PlayStation party. Shout out my boy Q. I'm in a PlayStation party yesterday with the homies. And he an OKC fan, so he popping it. Yeah, he just won by 51. You know, we had at this point in this conversation, the Heat hadn't played the Cavs yet. And, you know, he letting it off. And he's like, yeah, man, we better than the Heat was. I said, man, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got no true superstar like that. And then we got into Tyler. And then what was going on was Paulo was going off. I think he had like 6 straight at that point. I'm like, man, I wish Paulo was wearing a Heat jersey. He's like, man, that wouldn't have changed nothing. I said, what? Are you joking right now? We'll be in the finals every year. And we got into an argument with that. That's all we need. We need a bona fide superstar that's going to give us 25 points in his sleep. And I would feel confident in saying that we would be in the Eastern Conference Finals to Finals every single season, without question. And this is coming from me.
I don't think that it's just a superstar. I think
Elaborate.
that, well, so it's going to be kind of difficult nowadays. And I
'Cause
was
of
having
CBA.
this conversation yesterday, right? It's going to be kind of difficult with the Heat because of the type of cloth that they're looking for with players
I see what you mean. Copy.
and with what they need on the court. So you have to be very specific. But again, with the foundation of the franchise, it makes the search easier because now you don't have to waste your time looking at all types of other players that may fit. It may be cool, but it just doesn't fit the blueprint of the franchise. And so to me, there's really only a few players that can get into the backcourt because that's the first line of business is fix the backcourt.
Yeah.
Right? Specifically, a lead guard that can get the squad organized, whether they're destroying a team, whether they're trailing by a lot, by a little, whether it's just in the flow of the game, but just being able to technically keep everything together for the squad. And that falls into being able to get them in and out their sets. That's communication in a way where you can keep them together. But that's also taking on the responsibility to say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to make these shots. I'm going to make these plays, charge up the squad, and then now we can start dishing.
Yeah.
And there's not that many players, but I have said 2 players. Off the rip, I can see 2 players. One of them we've talked about plenty of times, which is Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, we have.
Lonzo Ball will fit. But then the other player, and I doubt, and the reason why I doubt is mainly because of, history. But Devin Vassell, would be another player that I can see that can take that lead guard position, quiet as kept. Devin Vassell's IQ is low key elite. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you could just see
he vibing.
He understands the game.
Yeah.
Like, he plays the right way. He understands it, but still has the elite athleticism and skills and playmaking that you would need in today's game. And obviously he's young as hell, but he can take on that lead guard position and do those things. But you need about 2-3 guys though. It's 2-3 guys that are needed, to be honest, and it's going to be pretty difficult. You know what I'm saying?
CBA and what you highlighted and the stories around the league, etc. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Every offseason,
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah. But it's there. They have everybody that they need. Honestly, they have the assets as far as players to give up. Whether it's Duncan, whether it's Terry, whether it's Nico, whether it's Jaquez, you feel me? Even some other younger players that haven't touched the court really like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have that. But you want to keep the Davion Mitchells. You want to keep Tyler, obviously. You want to keep Andrew Wiggins, unless the upgrade of Andrew Wiggins is really like that. You want to keep Andrew there. You know what I mean?
Bro, he's solid.
Yeah, he's a champion.
Yeah,
At the end of
solid.
the day, he's been there. So he's not coming into the team, and you can tell, especially with his maturity now, he is not in that mode where he's like, man, I got to get mine right now.
Right.
He's committed to what the Heat wants to do. So unless the upgrade over him is significant, and when I mean significant, I'm not talking about it has to be like a supreme all-star. I'm talking about like literally they're better than him. Andrew Wiggins is fine where he is. You can keep him. He is productive.
No. He gets it done.
And it's the same thing with Slow-Mo. I love Slow-Mo. I think that Slow-Mo plays the game the right way. If you can find an upgrade over Slow-Mo, perfect. But if not, Slow-Mo is fine too. He'd be able to provide a lot as well. Alec Burks. I would keep Alec Burks. Same thing.
I know I said Alec Burks shouldn't be starting, but he's decent, bro. He's not
Yeah. Yeah, I would start Davion too in the series.
Yeah, just for the
I
series,
would too.
definitely.
But Alec Burks is super solid. You know what I'm saying? So I would keep him. I would keep as much players as possible, but I would start to think about giving up whatever draft capital I do have, as well as some assets as far as contracts is concerned, to make sure that I'm able to at least start off with a lead guard. You got a promising center in Ware. You can draft again, or you can go in free agency. However whatever you get is an upgrade. Regardless, you got Bam, you got Ware. So the only other big that you have at that point truly is Kevin Love, which he's your vet that you want on your bench.
Yeah.
But either way, you still need to be able to get another talent, another big that can play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For
sure. So you're fine in the front court there. You got the wings and Haywood and Wiggins and Slow-Mo. You vibing. You got a few guards and Burke and Davion and Tyler.
Pelly Larson. I like Pelly Larson's game.
Pelly Larson is solid too. You know what I mean? You got some guys. The Heat is on their way. I ain't gonna lie. I can see, depending on what they do in off season, and this is no gas. Depending on what they do in off season, it can get scary for a lot of teams. No joke. It can get really scary.
We just got to close out these games next season, bro. That's the
and
reason.
I think that's the reason why the games aren't being closed out.
Yeah.
You can lead all you want, but if you're not organized in the clutch situations, then you're gonna lose.
Correct. The league is too good and advanced.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I get it. Spo is one of the best coaches, but hey, he's not the one on the court.
True.
So
very true.
If you can get a lead guard to be able to help in those situations, perfect. You're already, cooking with hot grease. You know what I mean? But That's about it. I mean, let's get right into these playoffs. I'm ready to watch it. Detroit and the Knicks should be getting ready to face off now, man, for game 2. Can't wait.
The Warriors and Rockets, did you watch that game?
Oh, yeah, Warriors and Rockets. How can I forget? Yes, Warriors and Rockets, I did watch that game. And, boy, Houston is not giving me any type of confidence that they really here to play. But then again, I mean, hey, it could just be the same thing as the Lakers, you know what I'm saying, as well as inexperience. But what do you think?
I think it's mainly inexperience. Man, those 3 Warrior guys have played in a lot of important games. It's going to be tough to outcoach that. You look at Fred VanVleet as the only guy who has championship experience. Steven Adams, I believe, been to the chip in 2020. No, he wasn't drafted yet, I don't think. But other than that, I mean, nobody else has played really meaningful basketball in the league yet. That's gonna be tough, bro. I see the Warriors winning this series, bro. As much as I hate it, yeah, I do see them winning the series. You look at Steph. Yeah, I don't know if Steph is gonna average 31 for the whole series, but Jimmy gave them a solid 25, 7, and 6. And if they have each other as running mates, they're gonna be a tough out regardless. I just think the Rockets are too inexperienced for the current Warriors as it stands. So I would probably go Golden State in 6.
Man, at least score something. This game went under 100 points, man. Score something at least. There's no way that we can have this type of matchup and Jalen Green is scoring 7 points in the whole game. 7 points, Jalen Green? Come on now, bro. See, this is why I brought up the Lakers, because it's like Braun had like 19 points. Austin had like 8 points or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope that you guys can come back in game 2 prepared and ready to score at least. Y'all held them underneath 100 points and got beat by 10.
Yeah.
So defensively, at least you guys know that you would be able to, match up with them at least and cause some type of resistance. But 85 points, bro. Like, what is this, 1998? 7 points, bro. You went 3 for 15 from the field.
Yeah, bro. That's unacceptable.
Like, what are we talking about
That's
here, bro?
Unacceptable. I mean,
come on.
That's tough, bro. Like, these young teams, as you can see, look, like, Rockets scored 85 points. The Magic scored 86 points. The Grizzlies scored 80 points. The young teams are, dare I say, struggling to find their footing, bro, as far as the offense, because it's officiated different. The pace is different. The environment is different. The expectations is different. And, those young teams is, kind of struggling to put the ball in the hoop. The Grizzlies, not so much because Ja's been there. So is JJJ. The Magic, outside of last season, haven't really played any meaningful playoff games. And the Rockets is their first time under Ime that they've been here. So I just think it's going to be a tough out when you're inexperienced. And we're seeing that as far as the scoring output, in my opinion.
Man, if you supposedly the face of the franchise, man, score more than 7 points, bro.
You already know how I feel about Jalen Green not being the franchise. Can you look up Alfred Sengun's stats? Don't worry, I got it for you, 26-9. Yeah, Baby Yoke. I've been telling you about my boy Baby Yoke. He
came to play. He's the only one that came to play.
Because he's the only one. I've been telling you for 2 seasons that he's like that. Trade Jalen Green and build around Baby Yoke, man.
Man, Jalen Green, score more than 7 points, all right, my boy? Score more than 7 points. I don't care about Dre being at the crib. Score more than 7 points. You know what I mean? Appreciate everyone tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on social media at @MediaDen_ and at Young Rilla. Keep it locked, and more importantly, keep it real. And we'll talk next time.
Peace. Yes, sir.
It's Young Rilla.